Thank you for joining me for a brand new Bob Sullivan show presented by KB Building Services. Tonight I will have on with me Lemon Fresh Day lead singer Danny Garcia. We enjoyed a wonderful lunch at Vallarta Mexican restaurant in La Vista. Please make sure you go and check them out for lunch, dinner, and all your meal needs. Welcome into a brand new Bob Sullivan show presented by KB Building Services. Today I have lead singer from Lemon Fresh Day, Danny Garcia. Danny, welcome to the show.
I'm happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, it's I've seen you guys in concert twice, and some of the best party atmosphere that I've experienced at concerts. Like,
thank you.
Very, and then very approachable after the shows. You might not remember me as a fan, but I've come up to you a couple times after shows and shaken
It may have
your hand,
happened once or twice that people have come up, but we appreciate that. But that is the whole point.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there's a gajillion different kinds of bands out there that all have different ideas and what they want to do and what they want to present, and our philosophy has evolved. But in recent years, anybody that's been still following this knows the whole point is just a non-stop party.
Right.
So I'm glad that that's your assertion
or
assessment, I should say.
I do enjoy my fair share of parties as well. So, how long has Lemon Fresh Day been? Awesome. Well, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Jeez.
Our first show was in, I guess we called it roughly about February of 1998.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
So 21 years, 21 and a half.
And bands stay the same for the most part?
Oh gosh, no. I counted it up. Last count was 15 ex-members. I'm the last original member standing. But generally, and this anybody that's in a band or has ever been in a band or wants to be in a band should know that there are 3 ways to lose a bandmate. And that's a job, a girl, or a kid.
Or sometimes all 3.
Yeah, sometimes all 3. And so, when we started, like pretty much every band out there, we all had day jobs, and I'm pretty sure I just got out of college. So it was just like a fun way just to hang out with your buddies and make a little extra cash. I'm pretty sure that's what about everybody's doing.
Yeah.
It's just over the years, it just became more fun, and as we evolved and guys came and went. The lineup I've got now, I think my guitar player Joe's been with me. We keep this, I always forget, close to 10 years, or around 10 years. Longest, other than me, that's stuck around. But I forgot where I was going with this, what we were talking about. Members.
Yeah.
But yeah, this lineup's been pretty steady for about 6 years, 6, 7, 8 years, 6, 7 years. Yeah.
Well, we are here at El Vallarta Mexican restaurant in La Vista.
La Vista.
83rd and Giles-ish. So we got some cheese dip here.
Gotta try the cheese dip.
And I always judge a Mexican restaurant based on if you get the complimentary chips and salsa.
I only know of one that doesn't do it, and I'm not going to say which one it is, but I mentioned it off camera earlier.
Yes. Okay, yeah. That's some really good cheese dip.
I judge them based off their beans.
You judge based off the beans? All right.
Yeah, I mean, it's always nice to get this complimentary stuff, and a lot of times if the salsa's really good, you're full by the time the food comes out.
Right.
Is that going to be a distraction?
We'll be good. Yeah. We'll be good.
Cool, but no, yeah, it's usually the beans.
I don't think I get more offended than when I'm at a Mexican restaurant or a Chinese restaurant and they come and ask me if I want dessert. Because I'm already so full from all the chips and salsa before. At a Chinese restaurant, you just fill up on rice. If there's 2 restaurants that don't need dessert, those are the 2 types of restaurants that don't need dessert.
Yeah, when I'm going out to eat, I don't know that I've ever thought of dessert, but to each his own. There's the salsa. Good deal. All right.
There's that. So I went with the Went for lunch special enchiladas, and what did you go with your?
I got like a combo platter, fried soft shell, 2 enchiladas, and then double beans, baby. We'll see how this works.
Well, we might have to do a recap later to see how that.
Very true. Cheers.
So, cheers.
Salud.
All right. Well, those are good beans.
I came hungry, so I'm eating.
Yeah, I did not eat the last like 10 hours. It was like I was preparing for surgery or something. So started at a time when the only critics were pretty much who was at your concert or who like.
Yeah.
But now.
And there weren't many in the beginning.
Well, and everybody now is a critic. Everybody's a food expert. Everybody's an expert on music. What would you say your guys' social media presence is, and how much of it, when people say stuff, do you have somebody else read it? Do you read all of it, or how does that?
It's me. When you're out there, of course, you know, if you're lucky, you're getting criticism because it means people care enough to say something, I guess. But it's always been me. My previous career, my corporate career that I gave up to do this full time, which was over 12 years ago, was corporate customer service.
Okay. Oh.
I ran the departments, multiple departments across multiple sites. Mm-hmm. It's what I had done for like the decade that I was in corporate. So it's really all I knew. So I didn't help start a band, you know, because I was a musician, because I'm really not that great. Mm-hmm. What I was able to do is take my business acumen and just meld that with the concept of a band, and then made them into my business, which is what we've been doing. And of course, the social media helps, you know, because it's my full-time job and because I work from home. Even just being on there, it's addictive, and it can be gross and a waste of time, but at the same time, it keeps you in with the pulse of Omaha and the city and the surrounding areas, letting you know what people are interested in, and what new places are open, and what new bands are out there, and just kind of everything. Mm-hmm. I think we've got, if not 5,000, close to 5,000, which, relatively speaking, you know, on like a national number is nothing. On a local number, it's a decent amount. Yeah. But even beyond that, I would want to see if there's anybody listening to this that's in a band or whatever. Don't just rely on Facebook, because that's just one platform. Right. You can't just create an event and expect people to come. Right. There are little tips and tricks, and there are so many nuances. I would also not recommend ever because I know you can pay for advertising on that stuff.
Oh, yeah.
And I wouldn't poo-poo it other than the fact that it's happened way too many times that I've seen advertisements for events that had already happened. Right. And I'm like, I know they paid for this. Yeah. And I've seen it too many times. But just really going after it. You know, we've been working on our Instagram following and of course on Twitter. And being a one-man operation, it does get difficult to kind of keep up with all of these things. But I think another thing that we have in our pocketbook that is just a situation of circumstance is the email database that we have and keep.
Awesome. Thank you.
Going back and referencing my corporate days, I started accumulating a fan because there was no Facebook when we started, you know? You know, we had to get going before the whole social media thing, and so emails and just pounding the streets. Right. You know, we weren't quite at the putting leaflets in people's windshields situation, but just, you know, really going out to the bars and just talking about yourself was really the only way to do it. Yeah. And it was, it was not easy. It's taken some time for sure.
Biggest change you noticed in fans from when you first started to now, like music fans?
Their age.
Oh, okay.
You know, we're very, there's certainly a vision that we have. There's a demographic that if you're not going after it, you just should. Right. I know I wasted some time trying to get, the 21 to 24-year-old, even the 25-year-old demographic. But it didn't take me too long to realize that the live music scene isn't really what they're doing. And if they are, it's usually, original music. It's in that Benson area. They're usually at that club age. Mm-hmm. College students don't have the expendable income that young professionals do. And even, veteran professionals do. So no matter how much you want that young, crazy crowd there, the business partners that you're working with, the venues that are hiring you, if they don't have money and they're not spending money, what difference does it make if they're just taking up room and space then if they're not spending money? So, the songs that we choose and just the places that we book, those two things greatly in themselves kind of dictate what our crowd's going to be. And by playing such a wide variety of music, we're trying to open up that umbrella of who should be at our shows. I don't know if this is related or not, but we don't do slow songs. We're actually vehemently against it.
No deep cuts or anything like that?
We avoid any, if it's not incredibly popular, if it doesn't have at least 1 million views on YouTube, we won't do it. If you're going to do an obscure B cut, you may as well be in an original band.
Right. Yeah, I respect that. I'm always curious. So, do musicians watch movies about bands or?
Yeah.
So what is your favorite movie about a band or a musician? Not a biopic, just an original.
I mean, I think there are a few, like if you are in a band and you've been in a band for anywhere close to as long as I have or anywhere near my age, if you haven't seen Spinal Tap,
Mm-hmm.
An updated version of that sort of kind of was Andy Samberg's Pop Star Never Stop, Never Stoppin',
Mm-hmm.
which was, oh my God. I was crying, I was laughing so hard in that movie. It's so funny. But it's insanely relatable. I mean, those jokes are there and anybody can laugh at them, but musicians are like, yep. Mm-hmm. Like, yeah, that's... it's crazy, but yeah, those are two that definitely. And then the movie Rockstar with Mark Wahlberg.
Oh, okay, yeah.
That was loosely based off the kid that got hired by, I think it was Judas Priest or whatever, not Judas, but one of those bands. Mm-hmm. That he was in a tribute band. Again, there's a difference. A tribute band is a band that just plays one band, and a cover band is all bands. So yeah, but he was in a tribute band for whatever band that was, and they wound up actually hiring him to be in the band. I wish I knew exactly what band it was. It wasn't Judas Priest. It might have been Black Sabbath. I don't know. One of those.
Spinal Tap's great. I think That Thing You Do gets greatly over the years. It wasn't well received when it initially came out, but I think that ages really well. Eddie and the Cruisers. Saw that when I was younger, but my question is, like, there was we were talking, like the talk was like, oh, he was so great, but there was really no evidence of how great he actually was. Like, we just had to take the movie's word for it, which I didn't like, but
didn't establish the character.
Yeah, other people had to establish the character for us, basically. And then Eddie and the Cruisers too was just a
Electric Boogaloo.
Yeah. So your first, so 98, you guys are just getting started. Yeah. So your first gig, where was it? How many people were there? How nervous were you?
I think our first gig
was your first song?
Was at the Saddle Creek. And I have a feeling like we did our first ever gig, we actually did 2 shows that day. And it was either at the Saddle Creek or possibly at that time it was called the Exchange, which was previously 3 Cheers. Hmm. It's something else now. It's, I don't know, 33rd and Farnamish, something like that. I can't remember if I was nervous or not. I knew I probably should have been. I probably wasn't as, because we'd been in the basement for a while polishing. Mm-hmm. More bands need to spend more time in the basement before they come out.
A lot of performers need to do that.
But yeah, I'm sure it wasn't great. And our songs, when Lemon Fresh Day started, we were a college alt band. So not only did I rarely know any of the songs we were doing, I probably didn't like most of them. Mm-hmm. I was just happy to finally be in a band.
Right.
But the one song I remember doing, because I'm sure the alcohol was flowing and it's your first ever gig and there's actually people there. It was a decent house because it wasn't just a Lemon Fresh Day show. I think we were on a multiple bill thing. Mm-hmm. But there was enough people there. I remember, I don't know if we were killing time or something, but I remember doing, it wasn't planned, but I remember we played a little bit of the Adam Sandler song, Medium Pace. Adam Sandler, the comedian, yeah. Mm-hmm. He had a joke ballad. I remember kind of planning through that, but I'm sure some of the other songs in that very, very, very first set, we probably were doing like Gin Blossoms and Material Issue and Dada and the Refreshments and just, just stuff that, like I said, I wasn't a big fan of. And then if that was our first gig, I do remember from there, we then packed up and went to and played at the 18th Amendment, opening up for Cheshire Grin. And strangely enough, one of our earliest shows, it wasn't our first, but was right here at this location.
Really? What was this?
When it was the Ice House. That's what this originally was when it was first built.
Wow. So I unintentionally fell ass backwards into this.
Yes. I was going to mention it earlier, but I figured I'd wait and do it on camera.
Well, that's a small world, I guess.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we were born in Omaha and still based and very proud to be from Omaha. We're best of Omaha. Thank you, Omaha.
Congrats on that, by the way. It was best of Omaha 2019.
2019, and hopefully beyond. I know things that I can't say, but yeah, it's good. Things are good.
Well, make sure you get out and vote.
Best of Omaha has already been voted on.
Okay, never mind then.
The winners just haven't been announced yet.
Oh, all right. Okay, well, here's another thing where I can delete.
No! Everything I've said has been perfectly camera acceptable.
Okay. So when you, as a cover band, is there anything that you would like? I saw a Facebook post today that you have like this. You're going over songs that you guys might do, and you just have these songs just continuously running through your head.
Yep.
I experienced that a little bit with making videos for different teams and whatnot, and at a certain point you just have to turn off the song while you're making this video.
Yeah, it's tough.
And so what is the process of you deciding on a song that you're going to cover?
That's a great question, because there is a process. I mean, there's literally a process. It's part of our business model, actually. And we do have business models. But first thing, more than anything else, it has to appeal to women. That's first and foremost.
Right.
To maintain our popularity, we've got to go after the ladies, because the guys will go where the ladies are at.
Yeah.
It doesn't work the other way around.
Yeah.
Interesting. I mentioned before, I don't know if it was on camera, but the song on YouTube has to have at least 1 million views.
Yeah.
It has to be popular. Has to be danceable. Even if it's rock.
Something to jump to, something to move to.
Yes. Well, we call it stripper rock.
Okay.
If a stripper will dance to it, that counts.
All right.
Shout out to
strippers.
Shout out to the strippers and adult dancers out there. So, and every single one of us, all four of us, each of us gets 100% veto power. If one of us says no, gone. And I'm sure there are a few others. I know that there are a few others. But when you put all these layers in, if it does make it through, generally you've got yourself a hit. We're not learning and wasting our time because we play every single weekend.
Right.
People, when do you practice? Every single weekend on stage. Yeah. We usually just get together when we're learning new material, which we just did. But I forgot where I was going with this, and I'll do that a lot. As far as song choices, yeah. So, I mean, when we do get these songs, we're always looking for, the hugest hits. And if you're going, it's easier to find older stuff because they're already classics. They're already established as monster hits. If it's Bon Jovi or if it's, Maroon 5 or something like that, that's already there. If you go after something that's too new, because we're definitely all want to make sure that we're doing current, is it a flash in the pan? Will that song still be there 2 years from now? Just 2 years. It's huge right now.
Well,
one thing that I've always prided ourselves on, and I don't know how I started this, because, over 2 decades, but we never do the same show twice. There's a different set list for every show we have ever done and will ever do. Right? We've got quite a library, so we can just grab songs. We haven't done this one in weeks or months or whatever, and always add new stuff. Always giving people a reason. When you used to have the old mixtapes?
No.
At a certain point, you would know what song was next.
Right.
It's kind of like that theory. And then when you would hear that song on the radio, you would expect your.
You guys still doing good?
I think so, yeah. Thank
Perfect.
you so much.
Thank you.
When you were listening to the radio and you hear one of the songs that was on your mixtape, you would expect your song to be up next after that song. Once people can start memorizing what we're going to do, and once they start knowing what we're going to do, we've just given them a reason not to come. So, just try to always entice that way. Again, I forgot what you asked.
Don't worry. Is there a song that you thought would be great as a cover, and then you just could never get it didn't work? What's the most memorable one that you just couldn't make work?
It's weird too, because a song that didn't work for us, I'll go see another band doing it and it works for them. So there's a dynamic there that there's just simply no explanation to. But we had learned, I think, one of the Justin Timberlake songs, I can't remember if it was Sexy Back or something, and it just bombed. We brought back, we learned it, played it when it was new, and then kind of let it go and brought it back. Everybody Talks by Neon Trees.
Oh, yeah.
And I've seen other bands do it and it does well for them. We would just clear our dance floor with it. We brought back Banditos by, I think the Refreshments. Everybody knows that the world is full of stupid people.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
It just did not work. We learned Even Flow by Pearl Jam. We sounded just like the damn record, if I do say so myself. Just didn't work with our crowd, with our flow. So it happens. Why American Girl by Tom Petty works for 50-year-olds and 20-year-olds, I'll never know. What makes people hear Don't You Forget About Me? And from the 80s.
Yeah.
And I can't remember who sang that one. Not Simple Minds?
I think so. Sadly, I'm working on a video involving that song, so it's stuck in my head.
But yeah, that people will jump to the dance floor, and that's kind of a slower song. Like I said, we don't do slow songs, we don't do ballads.
Yeah.
But yeah, sometimes things work and they just make no sense.
If there was a ballad that you would do, what would it be?
More Than Words.
More Than Words?
Extreme. Yep, probably that one. Every once in a while, we might do it at a wedding if it's requested, but that's a private party. Purple Rain is in our field house, but a lot of bands do that song. All bands are going to do your Jesse's Girls and things like that. We try to find stuff that no one else is doing.
Right.
Give you yet another reason to come see us over the other bands. We're all going to do Jesse's Girl, we're all going to do Brown Eyes Girl, we're all going to do blah, blah, blah. Jesse's Girl, Barney Girl, American Girl. But yeah, trying to find different stuff too. That's a tough one.
When did you get your start into music? When did Danny Garcia start playing the guitar, start singing? When were you able to put singing and playing at the same time together?
Great question. Well, I bought my first guitar at 14, and I was going to be a rock god, like a guitar god. But I don't have guitar fingers. Like I just got normal people. Great guitar players, great pianists, long fingers.
No.
And I always knew I could like carry a note.
Yeah.
See, here's my thing: is that I was never in any kind of chorus or choir. I was never in any way, shape, or form vocally trained at all. I only took guitar lessons for 3 months, and that was after teaching myself for 3 years. My teacher went off to be rock god, Mark Zavon, actually. And it was really, really hard at first to kind of put two together because, again, self-taught, completely self-taught. And yeah, putting the two together seemed really hard. When it started to come together, because Lemon Fresh Day, when we first started, I was not the lead singer. I wasn't even the backup singer. I was the backup singer. So I earned my way up.
Yeah.
And when our singer was discussing leaving, the rest of us wanted to try to keep going. And I'm like, well, what are we going to do? We need a singer. And I'm like, me, I can do it. And they're like, no.
Yeah.
No. So, the band broke up for like a year, and once we kind of reformed, and yeah, it was rusty at first. I basically just sat up there and read. I should have taken my time to memorize these songs, but it was just easier to go up and read, which I still see a lot of bands doing. We all kind of do it, especially when we learn new stuff, but if I'm going to go see a band and I see the tablets right there, like, I don't know. That's just me personally. But I think when, like, the original guitar player kind of taught me about harmonies, and that was kind of tough. My guitar, I'm still learning now.
Yeah.
We just had band practice last night, and my bass player and my guitar player, like, harmonies are just, they know them, and I'm like, I hate you guys. I'm still working on it, but once I get it, I got it. I'm still putting it together. I'm still learning how to be. There is a difference between like the lead vocalist and a frontman. They are actually two different things. You can be a vocalist, you can be a lead vocalist, and you can be a frontman and not be. So yeah, it's still learning. Once you realize once you think you've got all the answers, that's usually when you immediately admit you don't, and things can just go down from there.
Well, it's like the carpenter that's been there for 35 years, never had an accident, and then cuts off a finger. He got too comfortable.
Yeah.
A couple more questions. How did you guys come up with the name Lemon Fresh Day? I'm always curious about this because there's
We've been asked that. We've been asked that, especially in the beginning, so many times. Like all the time. We'd have been asked it so many times. I put it on our website, and it's actually still there. lemonfreshday.com. Essentially, as I stated earlier, when we started, we were a college alternative band. Mm-hmm. So, and you should always name your band after what you're going to do. Right. Like, if you're a Christian band and you're calling yourself, Death Killers, probably not a good idea. Yeah. If you're like, if you're going to throw whiskey in your name, you're probably a country band.
Yeah.
So we really struggled with it. Nobody could come up with anything. There was 5 members in the band at that time, and we went and had a meeting at Billy Frog's, when there was a Billy Frog's on 90th and Dodge.
Oh yeah.
And we were hanging out, just could come up with nothing. And there was a sign above the fireplace that said "Fresh Hot Nuts," and we were almost called Fresh Hot Nuts. But I put the kibosh on that one. I'm like, no, dude, no.
That doesn't have the. You could get away with it for a couple days, like a couple.
Yeah, I don't know. Somebody out there, maybe they're going to be calling themselves Fresh Hot Nuts, but yeah. So we left that meeting defeated. Didn't work. We went to our next band practice, and we were playing a song by the band Material Issue, and it's called Little Christine. And most people have no idea.
Yeah, I'll take a little more.
And most people have no idea what that song is. But just the way it's sung, Little Christine, it just like sustains.
Thank you.
And we were practicing at the SIGEP fraternity house. Our lead singer and bass player were alum, and so we had access to the basement, and there was a fraternity brother upstairs that heard us singing Little Christine, didn't know what the song was. And he come downstairs, he's like, oh, I love that Lemon Fresh Day song you guys just sang. And so they're all just laughing their asses off. They're like, that's it, that's the band name, that's the band name. And I'm like, hell no, that's a stupid name. Like, I'm pretty sure that's a product. I was thinking of Lemon Fresh Joy or Lemon Fresh. I was like, yeah. And so we voted, and I was the only one that voted no. So that was the name. And for I don't know how many years, because it's been 21, for how many years when somebody would say, what's the name of your band? I would always say, I know it's a stupid name, but Lemon Fresh Day. And then the day once came where I just dropped that first phrase and just said the name. And over time, people would come up to me and just be like, oh, I love that name, it's so cool. I'm like, that's awesome, because I still don't, but it is. I guess it's easily marketable. But that's where the name came from. Somebody misheard a song back when we used to do obscure shit.
Yeah.
Can I say? So that's where the name came from. And now hopefully everybody's just used to it, including me.
Yes. Well, on that note, enjoyed the food.
Yeah.
Enjoyed the conversation. Where can we find you? I guess you have Twitter.
lemonfreshday.com, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, Flickr, YouTube. Pretty much all those. We're going to be heading off to Kearney this weekend to the Cunninghams.
Okay.
And then with Halloween coming up, which is our favorite holiday, we've got shows coming up at I don't know if it's at Ralston or Baxter Arena. One of them. It's on our website. It's on Facebook. But the KGOR Dead Man's Party for Halloween. We're going to be doing Two Fun Irishmen's Halloween party, I think on November 1st. We're going to be in Sioux City celebrating another. We've got a big, every year Lemon Fresh Day does an annual Ugly Sweater Christmas party.
Okay.
It's kind of like our fan appreciation. We're having that at Horseman's Park this year. That's in December. That'll be one to look out for. Most of our big events, we're making sure that we have events for them on Facebook, but our website's updated, and if you're on our email list, you'll get, every Wednesday I shoot out an email, say, hey, here's where we're at. You can come, great. If not, catch you next week. If you want to get on that email list, there's a way to do that through lemonfreshday.com. But yeah, I hope you keep supporting the band. That's how we feed our kids. So
awesome. Well, make sure you check them out. If you're in Kearney this weekend, make sure you go. It's Cunningham's.
Cunningham's is on the bricks. Yep.
And then Halloween, just check out lemonfreshday.com and check out the band. Danny, thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.